Hello everyone. Today we will look at some rules of derivatives. A derivative is written as d over dx, which means finding the derivative with respect to x. A derivative is this is an operator. So a derivative, first thing you need to know is a derivative of any constant is always equal to 0. If I say derivative of 10, it's equal to 0. Or a derivative of, let's say, 1000, that also equals 0. Like a derivative of any constant, any number equals to 0. Another thing you need to know is the scalar rule. Let's say you're finding the derivative of 3x squared. This is the same as 3 times the derivative of x squared. You can just bring the coefficient into the front. In the front, this is called the scalar rule. Another example is a derivative of 10x. That also equals 10 times the derivative of x. As you can see, the coefficient was moved to the front. If we look at the power rule, the power rule states that a derivative of to any power like x to the nth power equals n times x to the n minus 1. So whatever it's raised to, you put it in the front, and then it's raised to the n minus 1. For example, a derivative of x squared equals, we bring 2 in the front, 2x, and then it's x is raised to the n minus 1, which is 2 minus 1. 2 minus 1 is just 1, so it's just 2x. Another example, d over dx for the d over dx over 3x cubed could equal, you know the scalar rule, you could just bring it to the front. It's 3 times 3 times d over dx of x cubed. And now you apply the power rule. 3 times, bring 3 in the front, 3x to the power 3 minus 1. 3 times 3 is 9. 3 minus 1 is 2. So it's 9x squared. We can look at some more examples. Let's say d over dx of negative 4 x to the power 5. So you equal, you know the scalar rule? Negative 4 times, now derivative of x to the power 5. 5 to the front. 5x to the power 5 minus 1. Negative 4 times 5 is negative 20. And 5 minus 1 is 4. This tricky example. derivative of 1 over x squared. Pause the video and try this yourself. So this is in fractional form. So convert this to only exponent form so that you can use the power rule. 1 over x squared is the same as x to the negative 2. And now you can use the power rule. Actually, don't forget the derivative operator. Now you can apply the power rule. The negative 2 comes to the front, negative 2x to the power negative 2 minus 1. So negative 2 minus 1 is negative 3, so it's x to the negative 3. This is your answer. You can write it in fractional form too, if you want to. This will be negative 2 over x cubed. There's another type of example. Let's say derivative of x. We can apply the power rule. So convert this to exponent form. Unit square root means raised to the half power. So this equals x to the 1/2. And now we can use the power rule. So we bring the half to the front, and x to the 1/2 minus 1. 1/2 minus 1, if we find the common denominator, is we can write this as 2 over 2, and 1 minus 2 is negative 1. So it's x to the negative 1 over 2. You can also write it as this, or you can convert it to non-exponential form, or 1 over 2 square root of x. Since it's a negative, it goes to the bottom, and anything to the power half is a square root. So that's your answer. Let's have another example like this. D over dx of cube root of x. So write this in exponential form. X to the 1 over 3. Now use the power rule. 1/3 times x to the 1/3 minus 1. This is the same as 1/3 x to the negative 2/3 will be in exponential form, or you can write it as 1 over 3 times cube root of x squared. Now, what if the square root, or like a radical, is in the denominator? Like d over dx of 1 over, let's say, cube root of x squared. What if it's in the denominator? Write it the same thing, but except the exponent will be a negative exponent. I'll show you. This can be written as 1 over x to the 2 over 3. Remember from the last problem? Now, since this is in the denominator, you can switch it to the numerator with the negative exponent. Make sure you always have this derivative operator if you're showing work. It's to the negative 2/3. Now you can use a power rule. Negative 2 over 3 times x to the negative 2 over 3 minus 1. 1 can be written as 3 over 3. Negative 2 minus 3 is negative 5. So this is negative 2/3 times x to the negative 5 over 3. Since it's a negative exponent, we can bring it down. Write it in non-exponential form. This equals negative 2 over 3 times cube root of x to the power 5. You can simplify this even further. X to the power 5, it's x cubed times x squared. And cube root of x cubed is just x. And that's it. This is a derivative of 1 over cube root of x squared. So that is all today. This is the power rule. In my next video, I will show the product rule and the quotient rule, and then we will go to chain rule. Have a nice day.